Have you ever noticed those people who always seem to be in a rush, even when there is no urgent commitment? While most walk at a leisurely pace, they cut through spaces as if they were in a race against time. It's not just a question of punctuality or efficiency, it's as if their own bodies reject the idea of slowing down. But what is it that moves them so tirelessly? Is it just an agitated personality, or is there something deeper behind this constant speed? Before making any judgment, it is important to say, there is nothing wrong with being a fast person. The world is made up of different rhythms, and some people simply work better when they are in motion. It may be that this agitation is just a way of dealing with internal energy, a way of channeling the always active mind. But, if we look more closely, we will see that, behind this accelerated pace, there is often a story that goes beyond the simple preference for speed. Perhaps, at some point in their lives, these people learned that stopping is dangerous. It may be that, in childhood, slowness was associated with punishments, excessive demands, or even moments of vulnerability. The brain then internalized the message, if I stop, something bad might happen. Or perhaps they grew up in environments where productivity was measured in quantity, not quality, and now carry with them the idea that they are only valuable when they are doing something. Over time, the body adapts, and the fast pace becomes a shield, a way of maintaining control, of not letting emotions or deeper thoughts reach them. Another possibility is that this speed is a silent escape. Some people walk fast because, deep down, they are trying to escape from something, from painful memories, from anxieties that insist on accompanying them, or even from an emptiness that they don't know how to fill. Constant movement becomes a distraction, a way of not having to face what's behind the rush. It's as if they're saying to themselves, if I don't stop, I won't have to feel. But there are also those who find a kind of freedom in this rhythm. For them, speed is not an escape, but a way of living intensely. Each quick step is an affirmation. I am here, I am alive, I am enjoying. These people often have a mind full of ideas, plans, things they want to accomplish, and the body simply follows this mental energy. For them, slowing down can even feel like a betrayal of their own potential. However, it is important to note that, in some cases, this constant rush can hide a deep fear of losing something. Not necessarily something concrete, like a bus or an opportunity, but something more abstract: time, people, the feeling of being in control. It's as if, by slowing down, they have to face the reality that not everything can be controlled, and that can be terrifying. The fast pace, then, becomes an illusion of security, a way of feeling in control, even when life, in essence, is unpredictable. If you recognize yourself in this portrait, know that you are not just an impatient or anxious person. Perhaps you have learned, in one way or another, that movement is your way of dealing with the world. And, in a way, this can even be a strength. You are probably someone who makes things happen, who doesn't sit around waiting for life, but who goes after what she wants. But it's also worth asking, what are you trying not to feel by not stopping? Sometimes the greatest courage is not in running, but in allowing yourself to be still. In feeling the ground beneath your feet, in observing the world without the need to always be one step ahead. Because at the end of the day, life isn't just about getting there fast, it's about knowing where you are, and why you're going so fast. If this text made sense to you, comment below. Key, do you also feel like you are always in a rush, even when there is no reason? Share with anyone who needs to read this, and if you want more reflections like this, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next content. Until next time, and remember, sometimes, the best path is the one we take without rushing. Herb. The silence that speaks louder than haste. Have you ever stopped to think that, in a world that glorifies speed, stopping could be the most revolutionary act of all? It's no wonder the word pause sounds almost like a swear word these days. I don't have time, that can wait, I'll see later. How many times have you said these phrases on autopilot, as if life were a race where the prize is more racing? But here's the uncomfortable truth: rushing isn't a rhythm, it's an addiction. And like every addiction, it masks pain. Perhaps the pain of facing emptiness when there is nothing to fill the seconds. Or the fear that if you stop, the world will keep spinning without you, and then what's left? Who are you when you're not doing, running, achieving? Think about it. A clock doesn't just measure hours, but the anxiety of those looking at it. Every time you check the time just to see, You are actually asking, am I late for something I don't even know what it is? Hurry is not about time. It's about fear of not being enough. And then, we confuse movement with purpose, as if accumulating tasks were the same as accumulating meaning. The paradox of modern productivity. We live in the era of hustle culture, where sleeping less is a trophy and exhaustion is synonymous with dedication. But here's a cruel irony. The busiest people are often the ones who live the least. They collect checklists as if they were medals, but deep down, they are just postponing meeting themselves. Have you ever noticed how rush has a smell? It's that aroma of cold coffee in the forgotten cup, the taste of food swallowed without chewing, the sound of hurried footsteps in the subway corridor. Haste reeks of fear. Fear of feeling, of thinking, of facing questions that have no answer on Google. Am I happy? Am I on the right path? What do I really want? And the worst, we think that if we stop, we will lose something. But what have you already lost by not stopping? How many sunsets went unnoticed because you were looking at a screen? How many children's laughs, or your own, have been drowned out by the noise of notifications? Rushing doesn't just steal your time. It steals your presence. The art of unlearning to run. If you are one of those people who feel a tingling in your fingers when you are still, as if your body is shouting do something, no, this is not energy, it is anxiety in disguise. The brain, addicted to the dopamine of quick achievements, confuses agitation with joy. But joy is not a like, a check on the list or a congratulations, you're there. Joy is the silence between the notes of a song. It is the empty space in the painting that makes the art breathe. Try this today. Sit for 5 minutes and do nothing. Don't touch your cell phone, don't plan, don't brood. Just be. At first, it will hurt. You'll feel the itch of impatience, the voice in your head saying this is a waste of time. But resist. Because that discomfort is the sound of your soul asking for permission to exist. And when the agony passes, and it does, you will realize something surprising. The world did not collapse. Messages can wait. The work will not disappear. And you're still here, whole, breathing, alive. This is freedom. What is your hurry preventing you from seeing? Life is not a straight line towards a destination. It's a maze of small moments, and the rush makes you skip precisely the most beautiful parts. How many times did you eat without tasting, because you had to go back to work? Did you hug without squeezing, because you were already thinking about the next task? Did you sleep without dreaming, because your body shut down from exhaustion, not from peace? Haste is a rogue, it steals texture of things. Turns people into contacts, meals into fuel, and days into spreadsheet items. But life is not to be managed. It is to be experienced, with the stumbles, the pauses, the detours that, in the end, are what make it interesting. The invitation, it's not an order, it's a hug. If you've made it this far, it's because something in this text has breathed with you. Maybe it was the line about cold coffee, or the idea that haste smells like fear, or just the relief of knowing you're not the only one who feels this way. So here's the invitation. Today, do one thing slowly. It could be drinking tea without looking at the clock, walking without destination, or just close your eyes and listen to the sounds around you. Yes, even the annoying street noise has a hidden song. Slowness is not laziness. It's resistance. And if you want to share, what are you running to not feel? Leave it here in the comments. Sometimes writing is the first step to stopping. Share this text with anyone who needs to hear that it is not mandatory to live in a hurry. And if you want more reflections like this, turn on notifications, but don't rush. Life is already too fast. We are at the right pace. Herb. P.S. If you've read this far, congratulations. This is already an act of resistance in a world that doesn't stop. Now take a deep breath. You deserve it. The art of not being the center, and why it's a superpower. Have you ever noticed how the world seems divided between two types of people? Those who shine when they are the focus, those who love stages, group selfies, and the feeling of being the life of the party, and those who, when the spotlight turns on them, send a chill down their spine? It's not shyness. It's not a lack of confidence. It's something deeper, the wisdom of someone who discovered that life is not a spectacle, but rather an intimate conversation with oneself. What if I told you that this discomfort with other people's attention could be one of the greatest gifts that your personality has given you? What silence teaches, and noise hides. Think of a century-old tree. She doesn't need to shout, "Look at me," to be majestic. Its strength lies in its silent presence, in the roots that no one sees, in the shadow that it offers without asking for anything in return. People who flee the center are like this. They build depth where others build facades. But why does this happen? The answer isn't in insecurity, it's in emotional intelligence. Check it out. 1. They understood early on that applause is ephemeral. A compliment today can turn into criticism tomorrow. Those who depend on other people's validation live on an emotional roller coaster. They preferred to get down and walk on firm ground. 2. They know that true power is in observation, not performance. While everyone talks, they listen. While everyone shows off, they learn. It's no wonder that history's greatest strategists, from Sun Tzu to genius introverts like Einstein, avoided the spotlight. 3. Are you afraid? Of course. But not from other people's judgment, from waste. What if I spend my energy being what others expect and forget to be who I am? This question keeps them true to themselves, even when the world asks them to dilute themselves. 4. They have already been burned by the exhibition fire. Perhaps they were humiliated in public, betrayed by those who praised their qualities, or forced to perform to receive affection. The brain retained the lesson: safety is not in being seen, but in being free. The paradox: who least wants to be seen, the most is remembered. Here's the delicious irony: the people who least seek attention are precisely those who leave the deepest marks. Why? They speak little, but when they speak, it is with substance. Have you ever noticed how an introvert's phrases echo in your mind for days? Your actions have weight because they are not performative. A hug given without an audience is worth more than 1,000 likes on a photo. They attract those looking for authenticity, not spectacle. Friendships that last decades are rarely born at noisy parties. They are born in late-night conversations, where no one is performing. How to live in a world that screams, "Look at me." If you've recognized yourself so far, you may have already asked yourself, how do you survive in an era where being invisible is almost a social crime? The answer is not to force yourself to be extroverted. It's about transforming your essence into strategy. 1. Use your discomfort as a filter. If you hate social media, don't force yourself to post. Invest in real connections, those that don't need likes to exist. 2. Let them talk. You listen. In meetings, while others fight for space, you collect information. In the end, who has the best ideas? Who observed instead of performing? 3. Create a self-validation ritual. Write on a piece of paper, "Today, I am proud of," and complete with something that no one but you knows. X. Today, I'm proud to have heard my friend cry without trying to fix anything. 4. Find your selective audience. It's not about being popular. It's about being meaningful to few people. A small but loyal tribe is worth more than 1,000 virtual followers. 5. Remember, the world needs you exactly as you are. Extroverts light up the party. Introverts light up the soul. And guess what? The world is lacking a soul. The invitation, it's not to come out of the closet, it's to enter yours. If you've made it this far, it's because some part of you breathed a sigh of relief when you read these words. Maybe it was the idea that not being the center isn't a failure, it's a choice. Or the revelation that her weirdness is actually a rare form of courage. So here's a challenge, or rather, a toast to its essence. Today, do something that celebrates the way you are without asking permission. It could be refusing an invitation that you don't want to accept, without making excuses. It could be spending an entire afternoon doing something that no one would approve of, reading a boring book, painting without showing it to anyone, walking aimlessly. Or simply look in the mirror and say, "I don't need to be the center. I am the universe." And if you want to share, what are you most afraid of others finding out about you? Spoiler, it's probably precisely what makes you unforgettable. Leave it here in the comments, or keep it to yourself. Both choices are valid. For anyone who needs to hear this today, If you have a friend, a child, a partner, or even yourself who feels wrong for not wanting to be the center, share this text. Sometimes the greatest revolution is saying, "You're not broken. You're whole in a way the world hasn't yet learned to appreciate." And if you want more reflections like this, turn on notifications, but don't rush. Life is already too noisy. We find ourselves in the silence that matters. Milky Way. P.S. If you've read this far, know one thing: the world is full of people performing. You are here, being. And that, my dear, is the most revolutionary act of all. Now breathe. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Not even for yourself. The silence that speaks louder than any applause. What if I told you that most people's biggest fear is not failure, but being seen? Not the edited, filtered, performative version, but the raw version. The one who cries in the shower, the one who mentally replays conversations that have already happened, the one who keeps a folder on the computer called things that no one can see. The one who, when she looks in the mirror at 3 a.m., doesn't recognize the person smiling in the photos. Have you ever stopped to think about why hiding is so much easier than being seen? I'm not talking about hiding under a blanket, because, if you're going to disappear, do it in style and with a hot coffee. I'm talking about that strategic hiding, the smile with your teeth when your soul is grinding, the saying "I'm fine" in a voice so firm that even you believe it. The art of becoming invisible in a crowd, not by chance, but for emotional survival. The mathematics of fear, or why showing up is an act of war. Imagine that your life is a game of cards. You were born with a deck of cards. Some cards are inherited, that shyness from your mother, that acid humor from your father. Others you bought along the way, the scars, the loves, the never again you swore to yourself. Now, every time someone approaches, you have two options. 1. Show your hand, and run the risk of being bluffed or you're not that good. 2. Putting away your cards, and pretending you're playing solitaire alone, when you're actually dying for a real game. Most choose the second option. Not out of cowardice, but out of calculation. Because the world has already proven that sometimes being seen is expensive. It's worth the joke they made about you in the school group. It costs the relationship that ended when you finally showed your fragile side. It costs you the job you lost because the boss didn't like your attitude. So we learn, hiding is cheaper than being judged. But here's the secret that no one tells you: the price of hiding is paid in eternal installments. You pay with the loneliness that sneaks up after the holidays. With the feeling that, even when surrounded by people, no one really knows you. With that emptiness that isn't depression, isn't boredom, it's the hunger to be seen. The visibility paradox: the more you hide, the more you scream. Think of someone you admire for their authenticity. That friend who speaks his mind, but without being rude, that artist who puts her soul into her work, that teacher who isn't afraid to say "I don't know." What do they have in common? They are not performing. They simply stopped paying rent for the version others expected. Now think about yourself. How many times have you edited a message 17 times before sending? How many photos have you deleted because they weren't perfect? How many opinions did you swallow because it wasn't the time? Every time you do this, you are telling the world, "I don't trust you to accept me as I am." But here's the irony: the world only sees what you allow it to see. If you only show the everything is fine version, people will believe that you have no fears, no doubts, no bad days. And when you finally blurt out that you're exhausted, that you're lost, that you're scared, they'll look at you and say, "Wow, but you always seemed so strong." Here's the big trick: we spend our entire lives trying to prove that we're okay, only to discover that true power lies in admitting that sometimes we're not. The invitation, or what happens when you stop hiding? Just imagine, what if, today, you dropped your mask? Not all at once, no one survives and I'm a failure in the family group. But in homeopathic doses. Send that message without editing. Post the photo without a filter, or at least with the "I woke up like this" filter. Saying "I don't know" when you don't know. Crying in front of someone and not apologizing for it. At first, it will hurt. Let's face it, being seen is like taking off a bandage all at once. It burns, but it's relieving. You will find that some people will walk away, and that's a good thing, because anyone who runs away from your truth doesn't deserve your presence. Others will approach you in ways you never imagined. And the best part? You will start to recognize yourself again. Because here's the blunt truth, you're not hiding your flaws. You are hiding your light. And the world, my dear, is hungry for people who dare to shine without asking permission. For anyone who needs to hear this today, especially you. If you are reading this and feel a lump in your throat, breathe. It's no coincidence. The universe has a poetic way of putting in front of you exactly what you need to hear, even if it hurts, even if it scares you. Maybe you've spent your whole life shrinking to fit into the spaces they gave you. But no, you were not made to be small. You were made to take up space, to make noise, to be the person you want. It occurred when he was feeling alone. So today I propose a challenge to you. Do one thing, just one, that the edited version of you would never do. It can be small, telling a secret, wearing clothes that don't match, saying I love you first. The important thing is to break the spell of fear. What if it goes wrong? It's okay too. Because the opposite of hiding is not being perfect. It's being free. Now tell me, or don't tell me anything, both your choices. What are you most afraid of others finding out about you? Not the pretty answer, not the politically correct version. The truth. The one you whisper into your pillow or write in drafts that you delete later. Spoiler, it's probably the same thing that makes you unforgettable. Leave it here in the comments or keep it to yourself. Both choices are revolutionary. To share, or not. You decide. If you have someone in your life who hides behind smiles, silence, or an impeccable persona, send this to them. Sometimes we just need someone to remind us, you're not too much. You are exactly the right size. And if you want more reflections like this, turn on notifications, but don't rush. Life is already too noisy. We meet in the silences that matter. Milky Way. P.S. If you've read this far, know one thing. The world is full of people performing. You are here, being. And that, my dear, is the most revolutionary act of all. Now breathe. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Not even for yourself. But if you want to prove anything, let it be this, that you are brave enough to be seen.